All right, well, it's Wednesday night. That means it's time for Wednesday Night Merfolk. I'm Joe. Thanks very much for joining me. I've got a very, very fun list to play this evening. It comes by way of David Bishop, otherwise known as Bishark, in the Merfolk community and on Twitter. So he had, I don't know if it was his original idea, but he was excited about it very early. Basically, these what do you call them? I think people are calling them MDF lands, like modal dual face lands / spells. So he was excited about the possibility of sort of comboing them with blink effects, because if you play it down as a land and then blink it, the way that these new cards work, if I can zoom in here, is you'll notice in the upper left-hand corner, there's a single triangle next to Glasspool Mimic, and there's a double triangle next to Glasspool Shore in the upper left. So the single triangle represents the main face of the card, and the double triangle represents the, I guess, secondary or subordinate side. So there are situations where this is relevant. For example, if like Goblin Guide is attacking and it reveals Glasspool Mimic, that's the main face of the card. It doesn't look at both faces to see if either face is a land. So I don't know. I actually the entire Zendikar spoiler at this moment, but if any of these dual face cards has a land as the main face, then I imagine it would go to your hand as a result of a Goblin Guide trigger. But I don't think that's the case with any of them. I think the land is always the backside, but I could be wrong. Some of you guys probably know way better than I do. But if we take a look at what's happening here, we've got the full 4 of this card, Umaro Wizard, and the full 4 of this card, Glasspool Mimic. Nikachu played a very similar list earlier today on stream. So if there are any of you who were with Nikachu earlier, you already got a taste of this. So you can do something else while I'm explaining it. But for those of you who are sort of new to this whole idea and some of the new cards, let me go ahead and sort of dive into them. So Glasspool Mimic. It's a basic shapeshifter that copies a creature that you control. Different from Phantasmal Image, obviously, in that sense. Phantasmal Image can copy any creature on the battlefield, whether it's under your opponent's control or under your control. Phantasmal Image also costs 1 generic mana less, but it also dies whenever it's targeted by anything. So Glasspool Mimic doesn't have the downside of dying to just anything. It's just basically a regular creature once it's entered the battlefield and copied something. So pretty strong effect. Basically going to look to double our Lords or double our Silvergills. Double Master of Waves is actually really powerful. So one of the best things about this card, and the reason we would play it over something like Phantasmal Image, even though it costs a little bit more, is the fact that we can also play it as a land. Right, so one card in the deck that can function as a land or a spell, depending on what we need more at any given moment, is pretty powerful. That versatility. So this list that Bishark has been working on has 4 of these. So it's the land, unfortunately, always enters the battlefield tapped. But it's you have to balance cards so that, as I said, the power of that versatility has to be offset by some downside. In this case, the slightly expensive mana cost of Glasspool and the fact that the land enters tapped. Over here, we've got Umaro Wizard. Now, this is an uncommon, whereas Glasspool is a rare. So the power level is just going to start off a little bit lower. The land side is pretty much identical. just a blue source that enters the battlefield tapped always. Umaro Wizard itself, very different. It's a 5-drop. We don't play 5-drops in Merfolk typically. Not something we've really wanted to do. It's got some more text. It's a wizard. It's a 4/3. Whenever you cast an instant, sorcery, or wizard spell, Umaro Wizard gains flying until the end of the turn. Well, so, in combination with Lords, all of a sudden we could have, like a 6-power flyer after casting one of our wizards. We've got a whole bunch of wizards. So Silvergill, Trickster, Harbinger, Master of Waves, all wizards. So I guess, does Shapeshifters, when they're on the stack, do they count as wizards? I forget if only certain types of these cards count as all creatures in all zones, but I think it does. So this is probably a wizard. But lots of wizards that can turn Umara, give it flying for the turn, basically. Otherwise, instants and sorceries, Force of Negation, instant. We've got a bunch of instants in the sideboard, and we've got a very fun instant in the main deck, and this is why I'm particularly excited to play this list tonight, is Ghostly Flicker. So following the trend with Glasspool being 3 CMC for a sort of a clone, Umara being a 5-drop Merfolk, Ghostly Flicker is sort of on the high side as far as casting costs go, particularly for like a Merfolk deck, which traditionally has a very low mana curve. 3 mana instant, exile 2 artifacts, creatures, and/or lands you control. So that's pretty much everything in our deck, every permanent in our deck, except for Spreading Seas, which is an enchantment. So we can't blink our Spreading Seas. So you exile them and return them to the battlefield right away. So that would be called a blink effect, as opposed to like Flicker Wisp, which returns things at the end of the turn. That would be referred to as like a flicker effect. So, this is actually called Ghostly Flicker, but the term flicker gets it from Flicker Wisp, and then blink is just an alternative sort of word to refer to this sort of instantaneous leaving and coming back. So the fact that it can blink 2 of our things is very powerful because, if an opponent tries to remove a Lord, we can blink it and a Silvergill, save our creature, draw a card. Very nice value. But really the reason that Ghostly Flicker is in the deck is because if you play Glasspool Mimic as a land or Umaro Wizard as a tap land, right, then Ghostly Flicker, if you check it again, says exile 2 target artifacts, creatures, and/or lands, right? So you can flicker your lands, which is amazing because you play it as a land, flicker it with Ghostly Flicker. Now, all of a sudden, if you've got 2 of these down, you're either getting 2 clones, you can make 2 Lords, 2 Master of Waves, or you're just getting, 2 4/3s that can get flying all of a sudden. So apart from saving creatures from removal and getting sort of random ETB value off of something like Silvergill Adept or Master of Waves, it's just looking to sort of get crazy value in the mid to late game out of what were originally just played as lands. So very nice synergy, and a very cool idea, something that hasn't really been done in Merfolk before. And I've mentioned in other streams that part of the reason I've been playing Soul Herder so much in the last year or so, more than Merfolk, I'd say, is it's very experimental, and it's very much up to each pilot to sort of try to figure out what works the best, and what they prefer, what they enjoy doing. And with Soul Herder, it's really like you can use anything with an ETB effect. So there's tons and tons of cards in the modern card pool that you could test in a deck like Soul Herder. Merfolk, not really as much flexibility as far as what our options are. We've got like options at the 1-drop slot, but none of them are really amazing. Some of them require us to splash an entire other color. We have choices about whether we choose Force or Dismember in the main deck, but really our choices are sort of locked in. So the fact now that there's two cards that are not just new creatures for the deck, but also this really flexible land that lets us simultaneously play more creatures than we usually do and more lands than we usually do. And yeah, just the idea that Flicker actually synergizes with it brings together the Soul Herder archetype that I love and the Merfolk archetype that I love, and it should be a lot of fun. So I'm going to jump into a league this evening with this deck. Actually, I'm going to make a couple small changes before I jump in. But before I do, I think my phone is going to die. So let me go and grab my cable real quick, and I'll be back. All right, sorry about that. Just going to plug my phone in here. Let's see. Okay, I think it's charging. Not 100% sure, but just going to pretend that it is, and if it dies, then it dies. All right, so as I said, I was just going to make a couple of small changes. Since it's a pretty new list, I'm not really sure if we want to be playing Master of Waves in this slot or Umaro Wizard. They both have things, pros and cons, I guess, right? One of the cool things about Wizard is that we can sort of just cap our Ether Vial at 3. And if we've got four Wizards, four Glasspool Mimics, that Ether Vial is probably going to be very useful. Whereas, in the past, we would have maybe Wizards and Master of Waves, so 3. At 3, we've only got Wizard. At 4, we've only got Master of Waves. But in a list with Glasspool and Wizard, you're going to get a lot of value with Ether Vial on 3, sort of like how Ether Vial functions in humans. They just want to get it on 3 and just leave it there for most of the game. So that's a nice synergy with Wizard, is just set Ether Vial and just sort of forget about it. With Master of Waves, you have to, every now and then, you do have to take the Ether Vial up to 4, which then really limits its utility because you're only going to be able to use it from Master of Waves. In a pinch, I guess you could take it up to 5 and vial in an Umaro Wizard. Not completely useless, I guess, in those situations, but I think Wizard is generally going to just make Ether Vial a little bit better. Master of Waves has the upside of being resilient against red decks, but the red decks are very fast, and so Master of Waves is a little slow, doesn't always get out in time. So I think what I might do this evening is sort of split the difference between Master of Waves and Umaro Wizard, and just try to sort of feel out whether one of them seems to work better than the other. I just played one quick test match in a queue, and I actually got to make tons of Master of Wave tokens, and it was a lot of fun. Always is. But Wizard is also a lot of fun, particularly with clones, so you can get multiple Wizards down and just like tap and untap everything in the universe. And then the other thing I wanted to change real quick was just making sure I have access to some bounce in the deck, so in case an opponent plays. And in Snaring Bridge, we have some way to get rid of it, so I'm not super concerned, honestly. We do have 8 counter spells in the 75, so I think I have Brazen Borrowers, so in this case, I think I'd probably... I don't know if I like Brazen Borrower or Echoing Truth better. I'm going to go with Truth, though. Old Faithful. And since I don't really... Maybe I'll play 1 fewer Dismember and 1 fewer Gust and just run 2 Truth. It sort of covers some of the ground that both of those spells cover. It interacts with creatures and you can bounce stuff like Ether Gust. So... All right, so you could take one final look here. I think the deck should be visible over on the side of the screen with Cardboard Live. Yep, looks good. I think we will go ahead and jump into the league. So anybody who is here with me, thanks very much for joining me. Calling it Merherder, just kind of cheeky because I play Soul Herder and I name my decks Blank Herder all the time. In this case, there's no Soul Herder in the deck, but I am blinking stuff, so Merherder it is. It also kind of sounds like the word murder, so Merherder, whatever. Let's join. And play a match. So the people who have been testing this list with eight tap lands have so far reported that it hasn't really been biting them, the fact that the lands enter the battlefield tapped, which is a little wild to me because in the past, we've always been extremely wary and resistant to tap lands, with the sort of exception of things like Fairy Conclave in certain builds. Generally builds that have been more controlling, like M. Hayashi's decks. You're trying to just slow the game down a lot and then have your lands do some extra work in the later part of the game. But as I said, people have been playing with these cards, and by and large, the reports have been very positive. In Nikachu's stream today, he had, I think, some negative things to say about them. But I think really he disliked the cards in Simic and thought they were sort of okay in. Okay, opponent's keeping 7. It's a Lurrus deck. Could be anything from Bogles to Prowess. This is a keep, particularly on the draw. We've got an extra land if we want it. So yeah, I'll go ahead and keep. It's very easy to forget that Glasspool Mimic is also a land. Looks like Black-Red Prowess. So they've got the Soulscar Mage. Trickster is going to be good here. And that second island is exactly what the doctor ordered. So we've got Violon 2 for all of these things. Violon 3 for Glasspool. I'm getting in with the Soulscar. Nothing I can do here, really. Just passing the turn. Interesting. Okay. Another land. Well, I don't hate it. I don't hate it really at all. We would just prefer not to draw too many more lands. We'll just pass the turn here with the plan of just tapping the Soulscar Mage at the beginning of combat. Opponent with no plays in that last turn cycle. Very interesting. Like, you don't bolt my face. All right. Opponent cracks the land, though. Strange. Okay. Opponent does have this shiny avatar, though, so probably know what they're doing. I guess this is going to push my... what's happening? Oh, Apostle's Blessing. What? Okay, Pro Blue. You got it. So I'm not blocking this turn. Are they just going off? Apostle's Blessing. Have you guys seen Apostle's Blessing yet? Out of Prowess. Is that very, very new tech? So Mimic might actually be pretty good just copying a Trickster. Just to try to blank one of their combat steps. Opponent, I believe, did not play a land last turn, which is good and bad. Slows them down, but means that their hand is gas, I guess. Okay, another Mimic. Interesting. So... I'm at 17 life. Don't know that I need to block next turn. I think I probably just want to lead on the Lord. Just boldly playing out a Mimic. I guess if that makes them... just playing out a Mimic to copy a Trickster right now is pretty stupid. So let me play a Silvergill Adept. If I draw a Mutavault, I would be happy enough just to put that down before this island. Harbinger's excellent. Really excellent. Okay, so yeah, I think it is just going to be the island, and then I'm probably going to violin this Harbinger, and then take the Vial up to 3. We do have 2 Regeries, 2 Master of Waves in the deck. Opponent again not using their mana. Interesting. Maybe leaving up another Apostle's Blessings, playing very conservatively, seemingly. Okay, I could try to save the Silvergill Adept, but I don't really care that much. They could, again, they could have another Apostle's Blessing, but Honestly, not really the biggest blowout in the world. I'll take like a Apostle's Blessing over like a Lightning Bolt any day. Okay, opponent thinking about it. In these situations, you can always take the damage and then bounce the creature on their end step. But I feel sort of fine here. I've got Glasspools who can just copy anything. Okay, Death Shadow is a 2/2. Fair enough. So I could keep it on 2, like, for example, play a Lord and then copy the Lord with Mimic. But I could just draw land here too, so I'm just going to tick up the Ether Vial. Yup. And probably just get in here, I guess. Don't really see a need to play the Lord yet. To play the Lord, attack for 6. It's going to make this an 8/8. But I have Glasspool for either of these things. But I sort of have to, let's see. Yeah, I'll just go Lord here. Apostle's Blessing could be rough, but they don't have a lot of mana to work with, so they can't like Apostle's Blessing plus Temur Battle Rage. Now, if I just Glasspooled the Lord here, I'd be swinging for 8, but seems correct to be a little bit more defensive in this kind of a matchup. Particularly since I don't have lethal here. Opponent does have the Lava Dart, but not super relevant here. Huh. Maybe they have a Gut Shot plus the Lava Dart. Well, this was going to live. That makes sense. Okay, so they're going down to 8. We'll play the second Vial and just pass the turn. Easy to forget about some of those Death Shadow interactions with combat if they haven't come up in a little while. All the damage gets done simultaneously, so even though it was a 2/2, the opponent took 3, and so when the Death Shadow, when state-based actions checked its power and toughness, it was a 5/5 with 3 damage marked. Once again, welcome to everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Again, playing this Merfolk list with Flicker in it to try to get value out of blinking lands that we play earlier in the game. In this particular game, I was able to get Ether Vial online early, and so it seemed like it made more sense just to keep the Mimic in hand and just try to Vial it in. So it could be another Apostle's Blessing, but it doesn't look like we're sort of setting up to take lethal this turn if they give it pro blue. Okay, Apostle's Blessing. It becomes a 7/7 pro blue, but they have no blockers, and we have a number of lethal attackers here. So we can't block, basically just passing the turn here. And I can just Vial in, if they play another like Death Shadow, I can just Vial in Mimic, copy Trickster, tap down, swing for the win. It's like, I don't know. They need a lot here, I think. Even just like bolting a Lord doesn't do it. They have the Lava Dart, if we remember. So let's say no. Okay, just naturally drawing Trickster is interesting. Okay, let's go to combat and just swing with everybody. See what the opponent is working with. What do you got, amigo? All right, just making sure that I know how to attack. All right, 1 game in the bag against. I guess this is sort of a new new deck, right? It's not really, I guess it is a prowess deck, but they're running Death Shadow and Scourge of the Skyclave. So have not seen Apostle's Blessing in Modern in a really long time. Have you guys, again, I think some of you are just sort of rolling in now. Have you guys been seeing Apostle's Blessing out of these decks, or is that this player's particular tech? All right, so I think Dismember is worth it in the matchup. I still don't. I mean, this is like the prowess matchups where basically they have like Lava Dart in the graveyard. I don't know if this list is like playing Bedlam Revelers, so I don't really think the graveyard is super relevant. Echoing Truth and Ether Gust probably will work well. They're looking to land like one big creature and do dirty things with it. So bounce spells seem good. What seems bad? Hey, Bishark. Thanks for joining me. So what am I taking out here, and do you guys agree with what I'm bringing in? I think I'll take out the Forces. I don't really care about their one-for-one sort of removal spells. We do have like the Flicker spells to try to protect against some removal stuff. Master Wave seems pretty good against this grindy stuff. They're definitely playing some number of like Team or Battle Rages, so we got to watch out for the Trample and Double Strike and such. The clone seemed awesome in that game right there. All the tempo bears are going to be excellent. Maybe cut some number of Silvergills since they just get lava darted. I cut 2 of those at least. Force a Flicker and an Umaro. Cut 1 Flicker seems okay. I mean, an Umaro would be fine too, and just leave in the Silvergills, I guess. Or just trim 1 Silvergill. I think that's probably fine. I don't know. So 2 gills. Umara is I don't know, but they get worse with. I'm gonna leave the Flickers in since we're testing that, and I'll sort of run it like this. It's got a bunch of like creature interaction. The Dismembers are a little sketchy since obviously they hit our life total. It's funny. I have a client who like needs instructions how to use PayPal. I'm like, what year is this? This hand is fine. I'm gonna keep it. Opponent's mulliganing to 6. Yeah, Bishark. I did a 2-2 split just because, again, it's testing, and I kind of want to see if one of them seems outstanding. I was talking about the pros and cons earlier, and I really like the idea with Regery, how we can just sort of max out Vial at 3 and just never think about it again. And it works not just with Regery, which is typically our only 3-drop, but now also with Mimic, getting a lot of value out of. I'm just going to dismember this now. Again, playing against Prowess, they have Light Up the Stage, and then dismembering turns on their Spectacle. And also, we saw they have Apostle's Blessing, so let's just kill their creature now. Spreading Seas could be okay. Maybe a little slow. Okay. So I kind of feel like I want to play. Now Seas is like something we can double spell with on turn 4 with Mutavault, and just use it to sort of close things out with Island Walk. Opponent's down to 3 cards. This thing's definitely going to hit us next turn, but then we get to bounce it the following turn and hope that they can't like protect it with Apostle's Blessing. The games get, significantly slower when I don't have Ether Vial. I think I'll just play the Lord. If they somehow miss like a land drop or something, then it becomes more appealing to hit their black mana, but they could just keep playing lands, and then Spreading Seas is just a very slow play on turn 2, particularly on the draw. I see some people are trickling in now. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I'm trying this very fun list. It looks like they might not have a land drop. So the Scourge can get in. That's sort of okay with me. Still not sure if it's correct then to play Spreading Seas. We've got other plays. Is this a Dismember for the Lord? Fair enough. So I think now it's probably just going to be... I mean, I'm not going to attack with Mutavault next turn, no matter what, basically. So I'm going to play another island here. And this guy's actually pretty swole at this point. So they could Apostle's Blessing now. It's pretty nasty, but we sort of have to take our shot, I think. And we still have a chump blocker back if need be. Let's see if they've got their protection spell. Looks like they don't, so good for us. The sequencing a little bit weird. I just don't like with them having a 7/7 and us playing out Regery. We're just so far in the hole, basically. So now, I guess I could play. Yeah, I just don't see Mutavault being relevant next turn, so I'll just play an island. Fatal push. All right, aggressive use of the fatal push. That would have gotten used on my Regery, at least with their fetch land that they had there. Death Shadow plus this big guy, and you know that Ether Gust doesn't work, so we're not just dead here. So, I mean, I guess I could play Spreading Seas and then hopefully draw like a Trickster, which would give us significantly more time. The Rege is just not doing very much right here. All right, well, if we don't die, I mean, Master of Waves helps us stabilize a little bit. I mean, they could just have the Temur Battle Rage here and just end the game. They're on the play this time, so... Okay, all right. They've got one card in hand. Umaro Wizard is a 5-drop. We could just play that as a land, hope that we draw like Flicker, and then sort of go nuts next turn. As things stand, I'm sort of set to just triple chump here. It's a little bit rough. But yeah, there's not that many options here. Could play Regery and leave Mutavault back as a blocker, but they have 3 lethal attackers. So we'll play Umara as a land, and then we'll get Master of Waves down, and we will triple chump, I guess. Hope that the opponent just continues not drawing lightning bolts. Why not? Kozilek's return seems good. Okay, they got me this time. Excuse me. I don't think I want to necessarily bring in all... I guess I have 2 of those. Obviously, Echoing Truth pretty solid in this spot. Pretty nice tempo blowout. But I don't know that I want both of the Ether Gusts. So they're leaning pretty hard on the... I guess they must have like 4 Death Shadows, 4 Scourge, 4 Soulscar Mage, and 4 Swift Spear. So it's sort of evenly split between black and red creatures. But we have all these Tempo Bears, and I think I'll just keep the Gust out and bring the Silvergills in. Just getting bodies down. I mean, if they have the the Lava Dart, then they have it. But we're still... Silvergill always replaces itself. We've got plenty of lords, so I think I prefer having more creatures in the deck on the play. Excuse me. Umara a little clunky. It's a very fast matchup, but when we trim them, we're also trimming lands. So I think I'll just run it back like this and sort of. I don't think we lost because we drew Umara. It was just opponent had a really nice clock. We were on the draw. They had their lands. They had their ways to damage themselves. Let's see. We would like to play first. I would love to have Ether Vial, but this is impossible to mulligan. Okay, Swift Spear. Okay, it's a 2/3. Pretty aggressive. Just going to try to trickster it on their turn. Hopefully I draw a land here. Opponent checking out my top deck. Dismember is interesting, but we've got the trickster. Dismember actually in this spot is just better against one of their bigger creatures, but yeah, let's use our mana more efficiently, I guess. Okay. They kept their 7. They have the turn 1 Swift Spear, turn 1 Bauble. Let's see if they have the protection spell as well. Okay. It's possible they have the protection spell and they're going to like leave it up when I cast Dismember. But, okay, what was that? Feed the something or other? Feed the Swarm. Destroy target creature or enchantment. You lose life. Well, I guess that's good for them, right? Not drawing lands. It's kind of a big bummer. I mean, it just seems correct to try to continue slowing them down here. I mean, their creature has haste, but does require more investment. They have to repay the red, but they have lands, and they have removal, and they have creatures. Okay, Scourge. And Death Shadow. Now, if I dismember the Scourge, I go down to 14, and it becomes a 6/6, so it doesn't die. It's pretty dirty. The fact that I'm not drawing lands is just terrible. I mentioned that like I'd prefer to have Ether Vial. It's just like when you keep 2 lands, I feel like pretty often you just get sort of wrecked, and it feels pretty bad. So hang on a second. If I take 4, I go down. This thing becomes a 6/6. It doesn't die, but I can potentially block. But then I'm going to take damage over here. So maybe the play is just I don't know. Like Echoing Truth, this thing at this point just seems like not the best. So just play a Lord. I mean, tough decisions here. Just behind the 8-ball with just stuck on 2 lands. Chat is very quiet this evening. There's that Swift Spear again. Now 2 removal spells, another Swift Spear, I guess. And a Crash Through. Fun times. Okay. Hopefully no land and another spell. Now the trample makes this thing tricky, right? Because I could, well, if I block, no, it won't die, right? Because these things are damaging me, and then its power and toughness depends on my life total. All right, not attacking with the Death Shadow. They could have a Gut Shot, which would be pretty dirty. But I am just going to block a Swift Spear here, I think. And this will only deal 2 damage to me. It's just the question of whether it will die or not on damage, and it will not. So We will block a Swift Spear and take 4, which will then make this thing grow. So I'm going to go down to 14. Again, sort of pray to draw land. Ugh. I mean, I sort of have to play a Lord here. I mean, the very, very greedy line would be to play Spreading Seas and try to draw a land and then dismember something. Problem with dismember is it makes this Scourge grow so big. So I think the only real line here is to grow my board, see if I can take some damage, and then sort of come back at the opponent with like Spreading Seas Island Walk win. So this is going to have 10 power on the board. Opponent's at 11, so it's like this tricky situation that we get to sometimes. I don't think that attacking here makes any sense for me. If I attack into the Death Shadow, they just take it and just makes their board better, right? Better and scarier. So just pass the turn. And if you guys have any suggestions about lines, I am all ears. Some new cards. I'm doing my best to sort of not punt against Scourge. If I had seen this card a few less times, I might have just went and dismembered it, and just like punted myself right out of the game. So opponents thinking about their Teamer Battle Rage math right now. Like 4 cards in hand. They didn't play a land last turn, I think, so it's just been lands and straight gas so far. So unfortunately, we're just in this hole here where I think I have to take this and just pray. Well, the thing is, they're at 11, right? They're not actually at 10. So I don't have lethal here. They've got 3 mana, 4 cards in hand. They can have just about anything. Like, if I block Swift Spear and they go, like, Bolt, Push, then I just lose Harbinger and the game is over. They could just have, well, if they have all that removal, I think the game is just over anyway. So, not going to block. Just if we're going to lose, we're going to lose. Maybe they'll tap out, take 1 more damage here, and we'll just play Spreading Seas and get, like, a cheese victory. But given the way things have been going, them missing their land drop, I'm pretty sure they just have some pretty sick spells here. So darting me, now I'm taking 9. They can dart me again, and I would be taking 10. So okay, another dart, sack two lands, grow it. Yeah, so that's GG. It's whatever. And that's gonna do it, guys. Opponent kind of had it all, so the aggressive GGs, gotta love it. It doesn't bother me. It's just not the best form. I just started Fruit Kid, but actually Glasspool was very nice in the game 1. I think the game that I won, where I had a Trickster and a Harbinger down, and then I just got a Vial on 3, and every time they went to attack, I would just activate Vial and copy one of my Tempo Bears just to bounce their creature or tap their creature. Made things pretty easy. Won the die roll. That's pretty nice. No lands is not nice. Oh, you know what? Hang on. Did I just punt? Did I have a bunch of lands, like blue lands? Because I do have a blue land here and a blue land here. They're just very slow, but I think it's okay. I can keep this hand. I need to be on high alert for sneaky lands here. It was definitely, I had Ether Vial and then spells, I think, but it's possible that I had one of these guys in my hand. So it would have been like a super slow 1 land, tapped, untap, play Ether Vial. But this hand is fine. I can go turn 1, Umara, turn 2, Mutavault, play Silvergill. Probably bottom one of the Regiries in case it's like Neo form or something. I can lean on this force a little bit. If we draw a regular land for turn 3, we can play Regery. So I'm looking to 6. Opponent is thinking about their 7, looks like, or they could be like double queuing or something. I'm kind of under the impression at this point, with very, very minimal amount of testing, that given the choice, you want to play Umara as a land ahead of Mimic because, well, both because Umara flips to like a bigger creature by default, and because Glasspool is just the better spell to have in hand. So logic seems pretty clear there. Opponent deep in the tank here. They lost connection to the game. Let's see if they find their way back. Were you guys watching Nikachu's stream earlier? He went 3-2 with a similar Ghostly Flicker list, except he had switched out the main deck forces for main deck dismembers. That ended up biting him a little bit in the butt because the 2 matches he lost were to Bogles, against which dismember is pretty useless when they don't have their core Spirit Dancer out. And the other one was Neo form, where obviously force is kind of the nuts. So, okay, I don't know if we're just getting this win through like a timeout or something. The opponent, we're just waiting for them to reconnect. So in the meantime, let's check out some of this new artwork. So this is actually Jesper Icing, I think that's how you say that, who's actually the artist, I think, who did, if I'm not misremembering, and I shouldn't be because I have his signature on the card, I think he painted Merfolk Trickster. I think I'm right in that, right? So, yeah, I sent my Merfolk Tricksters away to get signed because I was really stoked when Trickster came out, and it took like literally a year to get them back. But whatever, I wasn't actually going to a lot of paper tournaments, and I had extra Tricksters laying around anyway. So, yeah, kind of neat, this art. You've got sort of a bowl in the sky with some water falling out of it. Not sure where the water's coming from. Glasspool Mimic is pretty neat. I guess this is the same little bay that she's crouching in, just without her in the picture. Oh, and I think if you look over on the right side of the strip of land, there's a little piece of rock that, oh, this is awesome. Do you guys see in the reflection there's a bunch of people? There's a bunch of people being reflected. That's pretty awesome. And then at the end of it, there's like a rock, but it's like a person crouching down, looking out at the water. When I touched the glass pool, I tasted infinite possibility. Past and possibility come together in the vastness of infinite reflection. I mean, maybe it's an actual person sitting on a rock thinking, but it just kind of looks like a mossy rock. And there's all these, I guess the ancestors are standing behind in the reflection. Very cool. Nice art. Some things you don't notice in the art until you actually get in there and sort of stare at it. So this is just like a rogue on the left side touching, I guess, this magical pool of water, and some ancestors' magic is just swirling around. And then the other one, it's a much quieter scene with nobody apparently in the scene, but there's actually more going on than at first appears. Cool. All right. Check out Umaro Wizard. I think you guys all know this art pretty well. Been playing it for years and years. He's got like a face mask or a face plate on. Don't know I ever like really thought about exactly what kind of armor he was wearing, if any. It's got some kind of do nothing sort of seaweed t-shirt on. And then more like other nondescript merfolk swimming behind him. And then the forms sort of die away into almost like dolphin-like shapes up at the top, which is kind of a cool effect. So sorry about this, guys. I would prefer to have some gameplay action going on here, but the opponent appears to be timing out. Steady and silent as the deep current, the Regery guides the course of the school. Okay, and here he is guiding the school, tapping and untapping stuff. You've got some nice sort of motion blur on the sort of algae directly beneath. 2 Regeries. Silvergill, pretty classic, very colorful. The F&M promo where it's like some dirty basement Regery, like looks like a cave drawing or something. It's very interesting, that art. I might be interested if it wasn't foil, but the fact that it's a weird combination, that one, because the art is so primitive and rough in a way, and then you have it foil, and there's this strange tension between like the fanciness and the roughness of the art. So I could see people liking that contrast. I generally don't like foils, on Magic cards, but you guys probably have heard me say that before. Mutavault, always pretty cool. It's just like a cave with some tentacles moving around, and it's got these like turquoise specks, which are like just similar enough in sort of tonal value to the browns that they don't jump out right away. There's no like really shiny turquoise. I think they could have made those a little bit more prominent. It's actually kind of hard to notice them at first. The lighting effect is done pretty well. Just straight up, straight down from above. I have to say, I think out of all these cards, well, Force is iconic, but it's so easy to do this like blue magic beats red magic kind of thing, but very well done in this case. So if I had to pick my favorite art out of this hand, I'd probably say Glasspool Mimic. Like, I really love what's happening here. It got a very sort of Native American vibe here. So very frontierish, right? So let's see. Okay, the opponent lost due to inaction. Yes, stomping him with the Merfolk, proving the power of the deck. I'll take it though, I guess. I'm guessing this guy's not on the board yet. Yeah, surprise. Guy who randomly times out. Maybe they have a bad internet connection. Who knows? So, you wish you didn't like foils. Looks like old school Magic. What looks like old school Magic? Are you talking about the Regery promo? I don't think the Regery promo looks like old school Magic. I think it looks like I think it just looks super weird. Honestly, like, it doesn't look like any other artwork. It's like I said, it's almost like a cave drawing or something. It's just so brutally kind of primitive. All right, we got a hand. Playing against quinoa. Superfood. Come on, Neoform. Bring it. I'm ready for you. Maybe Charbelcher? I have not seen Charbelcher in like 3 leagues, 4 leagues since Zendikar. Freaking Tron. I've learned to never counter Expedition maps, particularly when they keep 7 cards. I'm going to wait for their payoffs. Another regular land would be pretty much the nuts here. I'm going to go ahead and be specific because the deck sometimes doesn't actually get the full memo. I would like a blue land here, please, that doesn't enter tapped. It's like the opposite. So we'll play that tapped. We'll pass the turn. Grim Ducky, were you reminding me that Glasspool is a land? Because thank you. I was aware, but very easy to forget, I think. So we're going to play a Lord, Vial a Lord, and start the beatdowns and hope that we're playing against Eldrazi-Tron. Well, a little late to the game there, Mr. Island. I could leave up Hardcast Force, but that's not really the way this is going to go down. I think Modern is pretty amazing, but there's still elements of it that I think the overwhelming majority of players would agree are unpleasant. For example, Tron. Like, how many people will be up in arms if like Wizards just banned like Urza's Tower? Like, exactly the meta percentage that plays these lands would be upset. This is like a Walking Ballista on turn 3 for like 8,000 mana. Yeah, Mao is always going to be the card to pitch. Fuck. Called it. So I guess I just vial in the Lord now. It doesn't really, whatever. It doesn't matter a ton. It doesn't matter a ton. If I respond, yeah, I'm gonna vial it in now. They could have Dismember up too. That'd be dirty. We'll just have to see how it goes. All right, a 3/3 Walking Ballista on turn 3. Totally reasonable magic. So I'm just going to leave this vial on 2 at this point, I think. More 2-drops than anything else. I mean, I guess I'll attack here. Yeah, if I attack, he can block and trade with 1, but then the Walking Ballista won't be around anymore, so I think we're good here. Attack! Just play another land and pump the Walking Ballista up next turn. It's pretty dirty. Oh well, he's engaged. Wow. Huh. So now I think I play Master of Waves, hold up Force, hope they go for like Ugin, and I just win the game. Because this is gonna bring 6 plus 5 is 11 plus this is 4. It's 15. It's not exactly lethal. So close though. Another Lord would easily make it lethal. Blast Zone A. Oblivion Stone. Gotta do it, guys. They probably also have like a Dismember or a Spatial Contortion or something. Lord for the win, please. Pretty please, with sugar on top. You know what? I'm going to take this up to 3 because if I draw a Glasspool Mimic, I can vial it in. If I draw a Lord, I can just cast it. So yeah, definitely going to 3 here. Opponent thinking about when to cast their Dismember. Do they cast it now or do they cast it on my turn? Okay, so now I've got 1 turn to draw exactly a Lord. I got an Oblivion Stone. We're gonna tick it up anyway. Yeah. Jeez. Should have kept it at 2, but it doesn't really matter. So now, you know what the plan is, actually, is just to attack with everybody. It's 15. And then I untap and attack with Mutavault. And that should just be GG, unless they have an answer directly from Mutavault. Really, I sort of don't care about Karn. They're just priced into playing their Oblivion Stone, right? So, yeah, Bishark, we're on the same page, I think. Because this is 4/3/2 is 9 plus 6 is 15. So, crew this bad boy up. No sense playing Mutavault. I mean, sorry, Harbinger. Attack Quinoa. It sounds so funny. Now they're probably going to play like a Forest and Thragtusk or something. I don't know, something ridiculous, but that wouldn't win obviously because I have too many creatures. Maybe okay, Oblivion Stone is a thing. It's 5 to crack it. Opponent's getting like a Walking Ballista that they can use to kill Mute. Okay, Wormcoil Engine. Oh my god. This stupid deck. They can't play the Wormcoil Engine, so I think I win. Unless they also have a Spatial Contortion or a Dismember. So, what is happening here? Trickster. Ugh, okay. Did they... They can't cast Dismember, right? I think we just win. Oh man, come on, let's go. All right, yes. I love like sliding across the finish line against Tron, right? Like the whole universe is just about to crash down around your heads, and like Mutavault just like kicks them in the ankle, you know? All right. All the Deprives. I think Echoing Truth is probably good enough. But maybe not. I think I like some number of Dismembers against the really obnoxious Walking Ballista. I'm not sure how many Dismembers. I think I might have this sideboarding glitch here going on where it says I have 67 cards, 9 in the sideboard. So that would mean I have 76 cards instead of 75. So that means I have to print screen and save it. Just in case I lose, then Wizards will reimburse me. Not just for this match, but for the entire league. Unless I happen to actually be playing 76 cards, which would be kind of embarrassing. All right. So let's continue. I'm assuming that I'm going to play... Now, let's see. I brought 6 cards in. It should say 66. It says 67, which makes me think I have an extra Dismember in or something. This is so confusing. All right, what am I taking out? Flicker isn't amazing, except against their spot removal or like Big Karn. But the flipping lands to just randomly win is actually pretty sick. So why don't I don't know, trim. Maybe it's actually the best card in the matchup or something. Trim Master of Waves. Harbinger's not super amazing. Trim some like a number of Harbingers. Now it looks like there's 15 cards in the sideboard and 61 in the main. Again, very confusing. 4 plus 7 is 11 plus 2. So look at this, the correct amount in the sideboard, but incorrectly represented in the main deck. So who knows? Whatever. Let's submit the deck. I've reported this sideboarding glitch two or three times in the past over the last like 2 or 3 months. Happens every now and then. Opponent's mulliganing to 6. We're gonna mulligan. Oh, wait. So I do have lands. It's crazy slow. We don't have Ether Vial. Opponent's mulliganing to 6. So pretty sure this is a mulligan, but very interested to hear the community's thoughts on this. Is it just like an obvious mulligan? I mean, we've got Spreading Seas against Tron, which tends to be okay. It's just super crazy slow. So again, just sort of interested. This is not going to go to time, so you would keep it just to try. Man, I don't know if that's the way to think about it. This is pretty sketchy, isn't it? I mean, turn 1 do nothing, turn 2 do nothing. Turn 3, play a 2-drop. Bishark, it's your deck. What do you think? Keep or mulligan? Are you in the bathroom right now? Are you not paying attention? We got Fruit Kid's vote. The ever enthusiastic Fruit Kid. Keep the 2-tap lands. All right, nobody else's opinion. If nobody else says anything, Bishark would mull. All right, it's a 1-1 tie, but Bishark currently edging out Fruitkid a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna mulligan. We're gonna get a nice hand. Boom! I told you. Gotta have some faith, guys. Opponent mulligans to 5. We're gonna keep here. And probably just gonna put the Trickster on the bottom. Trickster's not a huge deal in this matchup, at least not in the early part of the game. Yep. Now, since we've got the Deprive, opponent's mulliganing to 4. I think we might actually get a legitimate win in this league, unless the opponent just times out randomly, in which case we're back to our illegitimate wins. All right, so 2 cards left in hand. Spreading Seas, that's a good one. That's one that I can actually cast. Go, Ether Vial. But I have absolutely lost to Tron on a mull to 4. It happens more often. It's ridiculous. So the last time I played against Tron, I think when they mulled to 4, it was actually on stream, and they beat me. So I actually do have Spreading Seas here, so it's not the end of the world, but they're going to have turn 3 Oblivion Stone, which is just dirty. If I drew an island, I would probably just pass and hold with Deprive, but they actually, let's see. Okay, so it's pretty much a crapshoot, just like which one to hit. So I'm going to hit the the black border card. Okay. That's some beef. It's gonna help us hopefully win the game faster, but all right. What do you got, opponent? You got turn 3 Oblivion Stone. Let's go. No, just you give me a little pump fake there. Okay, defense, cha-cha-cha. So now, I think I just want to, this is a little sketchy, because like, well, the Force helps things. I think I'm just going to get Adept onto the table, reveal a Lord, and just hold up Force for a little while. The other line is just to Vial in Silvergill, play an island, and hold up Deprive, but that's still very defensive. You know, we are the aggressor here, so... Okay, all right. Well, got plenty of creatures. This Ether Vial is doing overtime here. What? That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. They just happen to naturally have the extra Urza's Mine. Just got an extra Urza's Mine laying around. No big deal. No big deal. But you guys all saw that, right? Like... cheating Tron players, man. Bent sleeves and stuff. We all know how it goes down. So we could swing for 11 here, but that's probably not the way to do it. Okay. Well, this is a first instance, I guess, of the card being bad. Like, I would so much rather have just a regular island here to have the defense of Deprive, but it's not the worst thing in the world. All right, Bishark, thanks very much for joining me for these first few matches, and I'll let you know how it goes. So we're gonna play this thing. We're gonna activate Mutavault. We are going to keep the Ether Vial, the Lord, just like in hand, I guess. Yeah, I'll keep it in hand for now. Seems okay. Yeah, just because like if they play another Ugin, then we can Vial in the Lord, keep the beats flowing. Next turn we'll have Deprive. So hopefully the opponent didn't have like natural Tron with resilience through interaction, plus a massive payoff, plus another massive payoff. Let's see. They couldn't possibly just have like 2 more lands in hand. That's for like suckers that don't play Tron. Hey, let's see, Zoyet. There is no best version of Modern Merfolk. There hasn't been for a long time. There's so many different approaches. Right now, like Simic is really strong, but I think that blue-white, oh my god, they have 8 million mana. Well, this is actually fine, because we do have Island Walk. If they have, oh, well, okay, yeah, we're good to go. I think we just win. I think I was starting to say, I think blue-white is just the one with the more results, the most results lately. Badoop. And yeah, empty hand. Feels bad. I take this up just for the overkill. Lulz. Now they could crack this, get like Ghost Quarter, but they can't like play it right now. So we do have Island Walk. Opponent just conceded. So Quinoa, despite being a superfood, is not a super magic player. And we are currently 1-1 with a random bye where this guy just timed out before we kept our opening hand. So nice. Always feels good beating Tron. You guys can talk about what the best version of Merfolk is while I take a quick break. All right, I'm back. So, because we played against Prowess, well, it's not even called, I don't even think we can call it Prowess anymore. What is the proper name of that deck now? It's like black, red, Prowess Shadow or something like that. So we played against that very fast deck. Opponent just scooped in game round 2 for no reason, and then we 2-0'd Tron fairly quickly. This league is just sort of speeding by. It's nice for a change. Not have like completely crazy long leagues. All right, cool. So currently 2-1. Trying to cash the league, so it'd be really nice if we could. Wow, this is interesting. We do get to test these cards for real now, so it's a keep. I like it. Open turn 1, Ether Vial. Turn 2, Umaro Wizard down plus Ether Vial off of. Oh, it's Tron again. Huh. Oh, I hate it so much. 3 Ether Vials. Well, this hand just went to hell in a handbasket. Okay, did they keep a 1-lander? Don't love this hand against Tron. We really need like a force or something. Come on, no lands. Not just a land, but Tron land. Not just a Tron land, but a different Tron land. It blows my mind. Like, it blows my mind that there are these new like panorama Tron lands, and some people don't play it. I think they're just, it's so cool having the panorama out. So as I mentioned, the play here, really we're just limited because of the tap lands to playing this and playing another Ether Vial. Not necessarily the end of the world. 2 Ether Vials is actually pretty good. But, you know, Tron's about to smash into our faces. Fruit Kid, I could try to catch up with you here. So, more than just like the tempo plays, although that's a lot of fun, I really like the mono blue mana base, and I really like just the simple classic nature of just running like one color. It's just something very appealing about that to me. All right, well, now we're going to have a couple looks between Silvergill and the draw for the turn to try to hit a counter spell, something to fight whatever the opponent's bringing this game. Okay, so this might work out pretty nicely. Because we can just like Lord and then like double. Oh, stop that. Lord and then like double copy it. But not yet. We have to get the Ether Vials up. So I don't think I want to play one of these as a land. I think they're going to be much more valuable as creatures at this point. So this turn, I think I just start by I'll just cast a Silvergill Adept. That way I can maybe draw land. Oh, another Lord, Jesus. We need the opponent to continue to keep whiffing on their lands. That would be pretty good for us. Come on, just a handful of Karns. Let it be awkward, please. Just don't have Tron. Or Blast Zone. I don't know, whatever. I'm gonna blow up my Ether Vials. That would be dope. I love it. Opponent, you are one sharp cookie. Okay, we're coming for you, opponent. It's a 2-turn clock right here. Okay, Tron or bust, my friend. Tron off the top. Oh my god. Makes no sense. Four of those in 46 cards. They need to hit it to not lose. One in 11, 11.2 or something like that. Like 8% chance to not lose. That's so infuriating. It's just like ridiculously stupid. Come on, let's go. All right, so I was saying in the last Tron matchup, like 2 minutes ago, that ghostly flickering our lands like at the end of a game could just be like a massive blowout against Tron, right? Like if we have like 3 wizards down as lands, well, 2 I guess, flip them, they become like 2 4-power creatures. Even through like Ugin or something, we can just like win the game. So Master of Waves comes out. I think I like that kind of cool counterintuitive sort of way to victory is just to blink our tap lands. I like the dismembers for Walking Ballista just because it's such like an easy way to lose. Harbingers are bad, so I'll take out all the Harbingers. All right. Yeah, we'll run it back like this. I don't know about Echoing Truth in the matchup at this point. Like when they're playing Walking Ballista, like Echoing Truthing it is pretty terrible. Sometimes bouncing a Planeswalker can be a big deal, and then counter it on the way back. We're going to be on the play here, though, so hopefully we just get, like, very much on the front foot. Like, that Blast Zone didn't matter one bit. But... okay. Well, we do get to play the turn 1 tap land, and we have the Force, so I'm going to keep this. Hopefully the opponent will mulligan into Oblivion. Because that's what their deck deserves to do. Okay, mulligan to 5. Once again, I never force maps anymore. It's just not. It seems like it's totally incorrect because they're going to hit land drops. They're going to eventually cast things, and I want to counter those things rather than countering their lands. Like, literally every time I counter something, now, like, I wouldn't counter a map on turn 1, but if they have turn 2, now particularly with 2 forces, turn 2 not ancient, but Sylvan Scrying with the two Tron lands, then I would force that, I think. So, even though Ballista is a thing, I'm still leading with Silvergill here, Revealing the Lord. All right, well, this is pretty aggro. We're going to play Umaro Wizard next turn. If it's just stirrings, it's going to resolve. Like, I don't care. You got it. All right. Expedition map. Since I have the redundant forces, I have to, I think, counter this one. I'll pitch Trickster. I will play Regery, and we will have another force online if necessary. Hopefully not necessary, because we're going to win pretty fast with this if they don't have anything. But as the opponent has shown, they're quite skillful at ripping the necessary land off the top of the deck. Okay, this is going to resolve. It's going to resolve because I don't like your odds, opponent, but you can feel free to prove me wrong. I already played their land for the turn. Dismember me? Dismember. I could have countered it, but we've got more lords where, oh my god, we got more lords where that came from, so maybe it was correct to force that. Maybe it was correct. Oh my, I'm about to start swearing, guys. Are you seeing this? This is so absurd. That's twice that they just naturally drew the missing piece off the top of the deck within like one turn. Can't even force that. Awesome. Well, this is interesting because it means that I can block. It means that I can block, and then bounce my creatures, and they won't gain any life. I won't lose any creatures. I can still hold up force if I draw land. I can have lethal next turn anyway. Oh, I can bounce. I can flick this thing. That's awesome. All right, so I'm just straight up. I'm passing the turn here. Bring an opponent. I don't care about your Tron. Gonna block with this guy and then bounce these two things. These two things right here. But the opponent, let's see, what's like the worst thing that could happen here? They could play Thragtusk and gain 8 million life. Karn I don't care about. Karn I can beat. In theory. Let's see if the opponent attacks. I'm sure they will. And we get to have a fun Ghostly Flicker moment here. Oh man, guys, I'm excited. Bring it. Come on. Come on. Oh, they didn't do it because they're at a low life total. I might still have it, so I'm still going to do the Flicker, I think. Kind of priced into it at this point. So we can draw Spreading Seas, Trickster, that does it. Nice, nice. Synergies. Oh my god, I got flying. Guys, I've got flying. Attack. Booyah. Okay, all right. Now, we didn't need a wizard. Oh, wait. Yeah, well, no. I think the opponent was at... Were they at 9? So, like, I was only getting in for 8 if I drew Spreading Seas. Still a pretty good spot, though. I probably would have held up the Prive. I don't know. Whatever. We got there. Good job, Trickster. That should have screenshot that or something for Bishark. That was pretty sweet. So not a lot I think I would change here. We've got 2 Dismembers in there for to help deal with. We'll just not lose the game to Walking Ballista. Master of Waves out because it dies to Walking Ballista. It's also just super slow and clunky. So I'm gonna submit the deck, and yeah, that was awesome. I really like this idea. Really like this idea. And I was saying at the very beginning of the stream that opponent's beginning with 7 cards in hand. It's pretty dirty. The double Ghostly Flicker. The turn 1 tap land, not a big deal. I mean, there's not even a lot we could just draw off the top to make this hand very good. We just have like Running Lords or something. Maybe Ether Vial into Running Lords. I like the Force. We don't have Spreading Seas. We've got sort of the combo with Ghostly Flicker here. I would love to draw something that would make Ghostly Flicker even better, like another tap land. But we're gonna keep it just because we're testing this kind of tech, right? And we'll see like how good or bad it is. Second Ghostly Flicker, pretty easy to pitch to Force. All right, well that's a good start. Opponent with the 1-lander. Don't play another Tron land, man. All right, Ancient Stirrings. Karn. No lands. Ah. All right, well, Lord it is, I guess. Natural Tron. Let's go, baby. Natural Tron. Just chilling in the hand. Just chilling in the hand. Oh, God. We've got the Trickster, but like... Can I get a land off the top of the deck? Expedition map. Why not? Seems pretty good. Okay, land. All right, well, we can do our little Blockaroo next turn and blink this guy. But I think it's probably better just to like Trickster. So we're pitching the Ghostly Flicker to the Force. The thing is, hold on. If I play Trickster on the opponent's turn, then the following turn, yeah, I can like flicker the Trickster if I feel like it, but then we can also Ghost Block. So either way, I'm just passing the turn here. You know, I could also just hardcast Force and try to maintain some kind of card advantage. Yeah, I think I just have to just tap down the tapping down the Worm Coil seems fine here. Oh, you know what? I think I punted that, guys. I think I punted that. Nobody said anything, but I should have let it attack, blocked, let it attack, flash in Trickster, take away its abilities, and then dismember. Like, I can blink the ghost. I can blink with Ghostly Flicker and try to do that next turn. But that was a punt. Punt. All right, awesome. Sanctum of Ugin, gonna get like... So I can flicker in response to them casting like Ulamog, so it's actually not terrible. We're gonna counter this though. Okay, all right. Well, we're getting somewhere, I guess. Okay. So we're just flickering here, guys. So I think so I can't do the dismember line anymore. Swing for 5. They play Ulama. I don't know. I'm gonna take 6 from the if they sequence correctly. Yeah, just gotta pass the turn. But I think I want to attack here. Could be wrong. Let's see. They played the Karn and I countered it. Unfortunately, yeah, set to take some damage here, and then, well, I should think for like an extra second. They're not representing that they have enough lands for Ulamog right now, so Flicker is not even necessarily the best thing. So I can Flicker, Blink Umara, Blink Trickster, take away its ability, and then like double block, lose 2 of my creatures, but get rid of Wormcoil. It doesn't seem amazing. I don't know, guys. kind of messing this up, I think. Blah. Oh, they have the tower. Awesome. All right, so I did play it okay. Nice. This is a screenshot. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to win. In all likelihood, probably not going to. But now I'm not blinking Umaro, which is kind of annoying. But we can just, whatever. It doesn't matter too much. Wait. Cancel. Flicker that thing, flicker that thing. Okay. Oh, man. Well, this is a little bit unfortunate. I think I kind of have to go with the yuck. Because they have enough power that we have to chump block now. I can't just take the hit, which is really rough. So I just play the Regerie. I mean, I can dismember. No, because dismember puts me at 10, then I still have to chump block. So just really in a rough situation here. I don't think we can win anymore. I'm sure I didn't play this optimally. Very complicated with the when to time the flicker. Blast Zone here. Seems like a forest for Thragtusk. The Ancient Stirrings, okay. They just chump block the Ulamog, I guess. They got another Ulamog. Alright, well, they can't cast it right now. Weird. So, I mean, I can make my creatures big enough to block worm tokens, but I'm going to lose a Lord. Ulamog's going to wreck us. Can I allow them to keep gaining life? I mean, it's like... These guys will be 5/5s if I play both Lords next turn. They're going to 27. I guess another Ghostly Flicker would be sort of semi-decent off the top. Nah, it's just a rough spot. The extra Ulamog now is just dirty, so I'm just going to block this Ulamog, I guess. Trickster lets me tap both of their creatures. Huh. Interesting. Still gonna lose a bunch of my stuff, so it's not like super amazing. So they're going to go straight to attacks, I'm sure. I don't know. Could also like tap one of their Tron lands, but they've got this thing. They're going to have 8 million mana. So I think I'm just tapping their attackers here. Why didn't they crack their expedition map? That's weird. Well, if they didn't have this extra Ulamog, we would have lethal next turn, I think, right? Pretty close to it. Yeah, I think we do. Yeah, we definitely do. But they do have the Ulamog, and we're going to lose 2 of our lords. I guess we can keep drawing Tricksters for like a minute, but now we don't have Regery to tap and untap things. Blast Zone, I'm sure. Rising Canopy. Interesting. Whatever. So stupid. All right, so beat Tron once, lost to Tron once. I think that puts us at 2-2. Go to the 5th round. Hopefully do a little bit better. Okay, let's see. Pretty sure this person knows what they're doing. I think I've seen that name before. But we got a very nice opening hand, so at least we've got a shot. Hopefully they're playing something that, Trickster can interact with. And I don't know, like, I definitely can't say that this is like the new best version of Merfolk or anything, but it's super fun and super innovative. It seems like it'll be pretty hard for Ghostly Flicker to be like a completely dead top deck, right? Because imagine you're at like turn 6, turn 7 against Jund. If you don't have any creatures out, odds are you've got a bunch of lands out, and odds are if you've got a bunch of lands out, you probably have some of the tap lands. And if you've got tap lands, then of course this looks like Trickster is going to be pretty relevant, which is sick. They did not Inquisition me off the bat, so definitely get down Mutavault. Good against Liliana, if that's what we're working with. I'm not exactly sure. I think I'm like, it's freezing here. Okay, so I think we'll probably just reveal. They don't have the. Yeah, I'll just reveal Regery. Like, they most likely just have removal, and I'd prefer them to not Inquisition away my Silvergill Adept. Like, if they have a choice next turn. But leading on Silvergill is a little bit silly because they can play Renin 6 and it just dies, but I don't know. I guess we're going to have to wait and see. It replaces itself at any rate, and there's a Lord, so next turn we can get down 2 Lords. It's a lot of pressure, but I feel like Renin 6 is coming here, almost certainly. Not the end of the world, by any means. All right. Well done, Jund opponent. Well, we've got a very nice hand so far against Jund, so let's just hope that things continue to go well. I can actually just kill the Renin 6 now. That's sick. Love it. Okay, we're going to play our land and pass the turn. We've got like the Trickster Harbinger combo, nice tempo play. Dark Confidant, beautiful. We can just tempo that right now. Okay, they got another land. So I'm going to just go Trickster plus Harbinger. Okay, use a push on a Trickster. I can dig it. Kind of random. And we'll just do our best. I mean, so what I can do here actually is tick it up to 3, get Regery onto the battlefield, cast Harbinger, untap an island, attack with Mutavault anyway. Yeah, we've got all the mimics at 3, so I think I'm going to say that it's just fine to go to 3. Okay, so nice tempo plays. It's possible that just getting Silvergill adept here is sort of the way to go. Sort of swarm the board. Yeah, I think I like casting the Silvergill, honestly. It's just better. Hey, kind of forgot that I had a land drop there. I would have I would have untapped Mutavault. But it's still pretty good. Yeah, it's still pretty good. All right, opponent. The heat is on. Lethal on board. Main deck, Anger of the Gods would be pretty dirty. Tarmogoyf. Shields are down on Force of Negation for the time being. Okay. Oh, we got some nice value out of Regery. That island was pretty bad. And attacks are bad here. I can for 9, they would just eat the Lord. Can they attack then? The Lord goes away. It's only 6. They'd be at 9. Yeah, we don't have any attacks, unfortunately. I think I'm just going to pass and just leave cards in hand for now. No, that island was a really unfortunate top deck. Like, we... Against removal and Tarmogoyf on that turn, I think... So, good draw off the top, please. Nice. Nice. I think their green mana is more important. They definitely have Scavenging Ooze main deck. So even though red is up right now, I could force a play right now, and that might just be better value. Okay. All right. So now we attack, and then they block, and then I trickster them, and then they feel like a bad Magic player. Like, oh, he attacked with the Lord. I get to eat the Lord. Yeah. Maybe not. Let's see. Is this an oops? Like, I don't know what I'm doing, or is it a kind of a trick? How much respect does opponent have for the merfolks? Enough, it seems like. Seems good for us. If they uptick, I just play Trickster. If they downtick, whatever. Just sacrifice Silvergill Adept. We've got lethal on the crackback. I mean, they've definitely got like, but you know, they F6'd last turn with black up, so odds are they don't have. You know, I kind of just want to sacrifice Mutavault here. Does it matter? No, I don't think I want to sacrifice Mutavault. I'm just going to say, okay, sacrifice this thing. Now I'm sure they're not going to attack with the. Oh, hey, what do you got? Another creature? Okay, going down to 8. We have that anyway. We've got lethal anyway. So, because we've got the Lord, opponent just playing to their outs, and yeah, they just conceded the game. Interesting, because I guess they read this 100% as a trickster, but I don't have lethal on board. Curious. Okay, well, ending the game at 20 life. Very nice. Okay, one more game to get in the money for this league. Is my sideboard like gonna glitch again or something? There we go. I don't love the tempo plays against Jund, so I think those will stay in the sideboard. I don't love forces in the matchup. I'll like trim at least 2 of them, trim 2 Ether Vials. These tempo bears are just fine. I think I quite like the ghostly flickers in the matchup. But I might trim 1 because they remove a lot of our creatures, I guess. But we have the tap lands, which are kind of always good targets for the flickers. So, no, it was just 6 with the Mutavault, right? They didn't know that I had the trickster in hand. So it was just I think like a Harbinger and a Mutavault, swinging for 6 with Island Walk. And they were at 8. They were at 8 life. I don't think the forces really are great because it's card disadvantage, and there's not a lot that we really need to counter. So I'll trim 1 flicker, and I guess we'll run it like that. Because we do need creatures, kind of need something for the flicker to be good, and they can always Thoughtseize it if it seems like the best option, so I don't know, whatever. So when we do trim on Ether Vials, we really want to see them, like in the opener, because that means like we're not going to draw bad Ether Vials throughout the game. Okay, so what's happening here? We've got no Vial, and only 1 of these tap lands. Opponent's starting with 7. We've got some nice 1 mana plays, but I don't think that they're good enough to just chill on 1 mana without Ether Vials, so I have to mulligan. Well, all right, significantly better. Significantly better. So we've got to keep 1, 2, 3. I think I'll bottom Master of Waves because we can easily just not draw lands for a while. Okay, all right, say done. And best top deck is Ether Vial here. It even gets around Hand Disruption. They're looking at my top deck. Okay, Ghostly Flicker. Wow, I had to show that to them. That's unfortunate. Bob, which will just dismember right away. Get wrecked, Bobberoonie. No cards for you, opponent. Gotta play with discipline. Like, it's nice to get our 2 drops down, but don't let Bob draw cards. Following up with Liliana. I guess we would just pitch Flicker here. Tarmogoyf is okay. We've got the Relic keeping that in check, so really doesn't matter. Sort of okay to take like 1 damage here and there. Dismember is another good one. Though honestly, at this point, I think that playing the Silvergill is going to be the best line. Hopefully, draw land. That's a little bit greedy, but we don't want to miss land drops. All right, well, we're not missing a land drop, and we've got the Flicker in hand, which is nice. Okay, opponent does know about the Flicker, but it's possible they don't really understand the synergy, the interaction. Okay, so you can look at the top of my deck. We might as well just wait on this. Well, actually, they could put a land in. I'd rather get rid of the artifact now. All right, so we're set to take a smack from this Tarmogoyf. We're set to get like ticked down from Liliana. But if we get to untap, particularly if we draw land, we get to hold up Harbinger and Ghostly Flicker and Dismember. Okay, fair enough. They do know about the Flicker, but I don't think they understand that it bounces lands. Like a lot of people don't think about that. Okay, you got my Adept. Okay, they've got more plays for days. Or maybe they're pumping the Tarmogoyf or something. Yeah, pumping the Tarmogoyf. All right, we could still dismember that guy, or we can just bounce it, slow him down a little bit. We got to be careful about Liliana making us discard stuff. Another relic is pretty cool, actually. I should probably get rid of my creature so they can't eat it with Scavenging Ooze. I need to play a creature here just because like what do I want to discard to Lily? The answer is nothing. I really like my hand right now. Just bounce this guy, make them recast it, hold up Dismember. Dismember doesn't even grow this thing because there's already an instant in the graveyard. And then we'll just discard the extra relic, I guess. I don't know. Seems fine. Whatever. Flicker in response to attacks is funny, like, because you just, like, okay, discarding. As I said, we're just going to pitch the relic here. Maybe incorrect. Oh, it's an artifact. Hang on. Let me Control-Z that. We know they have a Tarmogoyf. We can get it with Dismember, but we have to be careful because we don't want it to get outside of range if we start throwing artifacts in the graveyard. But I want to hold up Dismember, I think, because I'd rather just permanently kill the Tarmogoyf, but at this point I can't crack the relic to decide because, again, I was going to hold up Dismember, I think. So I think just pitching the extra relic is probably fine. That's what I'm going to do. So Tarmogoyf is going to be a 4/5. We can still kill it. Unless they get a sorcery in the graveyard. If they cast a sorcery, I would respond with Dismember. Could also just sack Relic to make the Tarmogoyf tiny. This could be a Kolaghan's Command, which is a little bit dirty, I guess. A Maelstrom pulsing my Harbinger is... Oh, well, they're going for the sorcery. They know about the Dismember here. So, as I mentioned, the time is now. They're protecting their Liliana here. So let's kill it. So hang on a second. Let's not be hasty. I can crack the relic, make it a 0-something, and then it's really not a big deal. We can continue holding up. Well, let's see. We can keep our Dismember for later and draw a card with relic, which might be good. They're on one card. I think just permanently dealing with Dismember and keeping relic up is probably the better way to go. All right, cool. So they've got a Liliana. I've got a relic. I've got a 4/3, which I could flicker now if I want, but let's. They're gonna make me discard. Oh, I can crack the relic in response, draw an extra card. Blinking the Lord doesn't even do anything, so blinking this does. Mutavault is great against Liliana. I don't want to well, the thing is, hold on. If I untap, the only thing that blows me out with Ghostly Flicker is like Abrupt Decay hitting Umaro Falls in response. So again, they do know about Flicker. They're going to just tick up and make me discard unless I play a creature. So I think playing the Lord just seems fine. And then if they tick up, we have a good chance of just killing Liliana. If they tick down, they lose Liliana. You can flicker. Oh, well, I can what? Yeah, you're right. I can flicker stuff, but it's not great. Not great. So I think just playing the Lord is fine, and we'll sort of see what they do with Liliana. Like there's a case to be made for either of these two lines. If they make me just discard, if they go to discard, I'll just I'll sack the relic. I think it's probably time. So, opponent, I'm sure, with like Choke and Bloodbraid Elf and all sorts of other stuff. 2 removal spells. Kolaghan's Command and Abrupt Decay. Mutavault is actually a good draw. Good draw. Helps us with the Planeswalker dynamic. Flicker's pretty cool here, but not necessarily the best. It would be okay. They're making me sack. I could sack Mutavault at this point. Do I want to do that? Possible they just have another Liliana in hand. I think we like keeping our lands because we have like Master of Waves in the deck, right? I didn't sideboard those guys out for some reason. So we'll say okay and sack the Lord. This sort of stinks of another Liliana, I think. Maybe not. Maybe not. All right, let's draw a card. I'm ready. That's pretty nice. And that's also pretty nice because now I can protect my creature. What you got, opponent? Got double removal spell or something? Now Flicker is cool. They're trying to make me discard, but they can kill my Lord in response, but we still get Umaro and we get to start cracking for 6 next turn. So whatever. I mean, I'm going from 9 to 6, losing 3, but I mean, got to improve the board position here, right? I don't have to target the Lord. It doesn't even matter. Targeting the Lord doesn't matter, but I would like Umaro to turn into a creature. So, do I have to choose 2? Oh, I have to choose 2. I guess I could just choose a land. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Flickeroony, do they have like an Abrupt Decay for my land? Would be neat if they had an Abrupt Decay for the land. Yeah, bouncing the Lord, it just doesn't matter at all. It's just an extra target. It's funny that it forces you to target 2 things. It's not up to 2. Okay, well, we've got a 5/4. We're cracking for a lot. If they don't have removal, is 7 plus 3 is 10. 2-turn clock, but they have 2 cards in hand, so Seal of Fire gets rid of the Lord, or just goes face. Or gets the Lord, fair enough. 3-turn clock as things stand, though. All right, well, I'm going to play that. And now, like, a Trickster off the top is just amazing. They're super far away from casting Kroxa. Did I say Abrupt Decay? I meant to say Assassin's Trophy. Obviously, can't target lands with Abrupt Decay. Huh. Well, you can't play that yet. I mean, we can play it. We can't cast it. You got it, opponent. We've used, I think we exiled one of our Flickers. Nope, there's still one in the deck, I think. So I think just playing a land is probably fine here. Wow, they just legitimately can't push this guy because he's a 5-drop. That's actually pretty sick. So now we're super far away from casting this guy, so definitely play it as a land, and maybe like Master of Waves would be okay. So opponent's top decking here. Jund does pretty well at that. Like Liliana would just be ridiculous here. Tarmogoyf is also kind of ridiculous here. Master of Waves also a little ridiculous here. But not that bad. Oh, I get flying! Oh my god, I'm getting like so fond of this Umaro Wizard guy. Guys. I have flying. Oh man. If I was playing paper, I would have missed that trigger like hardcore. But like Master of Waves, go. Okay, alright. Well, Engineer Explosives off the top is not the worst thing in the world, but they can't attack. Come on, Wizard, give me a Trickster off the top for the sick rub-ins. Any Wizard, honestly, Master of Waves would be pretty dope too. Bah, it's a Wizard, but I can't cast it. Bah. Ah. All right, well, yeah, they could block and take 2. That seems pretty terrible. For now, the threat of just winning on the crackback seems good enough to me, so just pass the turn. Draw a land, pass the turn back to me. I draw a Merfolk. I get flying and I win. All right, Wizard time. The thing is, Wizard, like with flying, doesn't just do it. I need a Lord here. Lord. Mimic is going to copy Master of Waves next turn. Can I reveal this to Silvergill Adept? Yeah, it can't be paid. I guess it's different, right? There's like different kinds of creatures that are like all creature types in every zone, and this is not one of them. What am I thinking of? What creature type is all creatures in all zones? So yeah, we can't cast the additional things. So definitely not playing that as a land though right now. Changeling, right on. So Kraken with flying. We've got 2 blockers. They've got 1 card in hand. Hard to see how we get blown out in this spot. We've got flying again next turn. They didn't answer it this turn. 2 cards in hand. Passing the turn again. Getting in. Interesting. Well, I think I block. They got 2 cards. They play 2 creatures. I mean, I'm going to block, and then we'll see what they've got. Temur Battle Rage? Like, maybe they think I'm going to take it, and then they bolt me, or they Seal of Fire me, which would obviously be pretty rough. They could play Lurrus and start playing Seal of Fires. If they have Lurrus in their deck. They're looking at their top deck right now. I mean, they've got no blockers right now. I'm at 6 life. Oh wait, Kroxa. Kroxa is a thing. But I have pro red and potentially flying. Yeah, I think you're right that changing is an ability, but I think maybe their creature type is also Shapeshifter. All right, we got there. Seems like this deck should do well against Jund, and I think we just saw that it, in fact, does do very well against Jund. This mechanic of turning your land into very powerful creatures, I see a lot of strength in that, honestly. So it's a little slow. It's obviously a little dirtily. But very, very powerful. Against Tron, imagine that they play, Ugin, which would normally just end a game on the spot. We go to the end step, and, we just turn over 2 Umaras. Right now we're cracking back for 8 all of a sudden. it's pretty strong. Could just win a game if they're at a fairly low life total. Against Jund, again, just like the late game value of flipping lands over just seems really, really potent. I'm not sure that the numbers are balanced. Regery was good. Master of Waves was good. I think, it is a deck that it is a build that wants to go kind of into the late game. We've got the tempo bears to sort of help us get there. The forces slow things down a little bit. So it might just be okay to run the full 4 Master of Waves. I was hedging in this league just to sort of see which one felt better, and I think they both felt fine. I don't think we need like a ton more beef like above the 8 Lords. Nikachu was talking about Master of Waves today as a win more card, and just like asking the question, like what does everybody think at this point about Master of Waves? Does it seem like very win more? And, Master of Waves has been in many, 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 many successful Merfolk lists. Like, for years on end, it was unquestioned. Now that Plague Engineer is around, it's a bit more dubious. But, you see Plague Engineer around, but I see it about as often as I see, like, Ensnaring Bridge. And I'm not one of those players who is like, oh my god, your deck has no way to deal with Ensnaring Bridge. What are you thinking? For me, it's like, whatever. Like, I just played an entire league without seeing Ensnaring Bridge. And the league before that, it's just like, we've got 8 counter spells. If they land in Ensnaring Bridge, that's our bad. It's one card in the format, and it's probably played in, at most, maybe between 10 and 15% of decks in the format. So I don't know. It's a bit of a tangent. It's just to say that I don't see that much Plague Engineer. That's kind of like the long and short of it. We just played against a Plague Engineer deck in Jund, and Master of Waves was pretty nutty. Like, I was about to like Glasspool Mimic on Master of Waves, and that's a pretty sick combo right there. So anyhow, we managed to 3-2. It's exactly what Nikachu did earlier in the day with a similar build. I'm excited to keep trying it because, as I've said a few times this evening, I get excited about testing new stuff. Merfolk so rarely gets new toys, and it seemed at first like we were just getting scraps, Like, it sort of reminded me of like when we got Unsettled Mariner in Modern Horizons. It's like every deck gets Unsettled Mariner. Elementals gets Unsettled Mariner. Humans gets Unsettled Mariner. It's Changeling. So it's not a big deal. This is another card that just, every deck, if they want to play it, they can play it. Like, there's Humans decks playing it. There was Aspiring Spike was even trying it in like a Soul Herder deck today. So it's not Merfolk specific, but that doesn't mean we can't have a good time with it. And it so happens that there is another like flippy Merfolk that just like furthers this whole synergy here. So so I'm pretty psyched to have new fancy stuff to test. Je chante. What is a good changeling? You're talking about Unsettled Mariner, because we were talking about changelings and I just mentioned this. Yeah, let's check it out. Yeah, it is an ability, right? It's a shapeshifter, just like our Glasspool Mimic. But Glasspool Mimic, I guess maybe they thought would be too pushed if it was changeling also. It's whatever. Like, I'm fine with it not having changeling. The only thing that really mattered was that I couldn't reveal it for Silvergill, which would be really nice synergy. Like, really, really nice synergy. All right. So you guys have any thoughts or any observations about how the deck works? Does it seem very promising to you? Does it seem like kind of a joke? Wouldn't have the ability after it copied the creature. I think that's why it's a shapeshifter lore-wise. I don't know. Things that can change into creatures can change typically into like other creatures. Like, it doesn't just like lose that ability. So I guess I sort of see what you're saying about the lore aspect or like the flavor aspect. But if it had changeling, it would totally be flavor like okay also. I guess the flavor of this card is that it's like a permanent change, right? It's like a permanent shift change. state change or something. So Fruit Kid says it's all right. I know you're super high on Glasspool, and it is a cool card. So Nighthawk, this is based very closely on Bishark's list. So you would want to ask him in the Discord how he came to this land count, but I can take my best shot. There's 14 lands here, and then there's 8 more lands with these guys, which puts us up to 22 lands. But honestly, something I have to say, I guess, that felt amazing in this first trial run is, you know, we draw very few actual non-value lands, right? Like islands and caverns. It's less than half of them are mono base now. So we've got the 4 Mutavaults and then 8 creature lands, 8 spell lands, so 12 lands that do something. And so while simultaneously playing significantly fewer lands, we get to play significantly more creatures. So Fruit Kid's saying, well, let's check this out. Jushant, what do you got? There are clones that have abilities after they copy, but they have additional text to support that. Fair enough. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So, like, if it enters the battlefield and it had Changeling as an ability, it would copy, like, Master of the Pearl Trident, and it would lose that text and become Master of the Pearl Trident, which is fair. That makes sense. It would need extra text to say, and it gains extra text, right? Fruit Kid, not something I'd play just due to the unreliable nature of some cards. So that the thing about it, honestly, is that these tap lands are not an insignificant portion of the deck. In fact, there's 8 of them, right? Which is like as many as our Island Walk Lords. So even if you have like one of these things, odds are Ghostly Flicker is going to be value. So Ghostly Flicker seems like the most dubious card. Like, well, what if you have an empty board? You need like a crazy confluence of things to happen for Ghostly Flicker to not actually get value. You need to have an empty board. You need to have none of these tap lands on the battlefield. You need to have the opponent not go for removal, in which case you could respond and just save one of your creatures. It's just like, seems like there's always going to be an opportunity, and the Jund matchup, I think, just sort of showed that. Also the Tron matchup, I think we got some fun action going with Ghostly Flicker. So as far as unreliable goes, I don't think Ghostly Flicker is as bad as it might seem on first analysis, since it's quite good with these lands. Mutavault was excellent tonight. Like, it helped us beat Tron. We cracked for like 15, and then we cleaned up with Mutavault, which was awesome. Force in the main, I think I always want Force with a deck full of all blue cards rather than Dismember. It's just going to, I think it's going to get more free wins than Dismember. Like, you know, we're going to come up against Neoformer ad nauseum and just win. Dismember is going to get us that win maybe against like Devoted Druid, but maybe they lead on Giver of Runes and it doesn't even change anything. Well, you know what? This Wizard card was sick tonight. It was just awesome. Like, flickering to a 4/3, changing one of your lands to a 4/3 instantly is amazing. The fact that it was able to fly over a big-ass Tarmogoyf was ridiculous. Like, Silvergill Adept as a wizard, now we can finally get some nice value out of our wizard synergy. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. We've got a lot of wizards. Actually, I played Master of Waves, it got flying. I played Silvergill Adept, it got flying. I actually quite like that it's a 5-drop, that we don't actually have to pay 5 for, because it completely dodges Fatal Push. Like, the opponent had to Fatal Push my lesser creature. Like, they had to let this 4/3 stick around. So yeah, as I said, like, for me, this is really exciting because I love testing new crazy kind of ideas. And so I'll just be playing this for a while. I'll try to tune it a little bit. I'll definitely be in touch with Bishark about it. But it's very exciting. It's very interesting. And, you know, people are going to start putting up like 5-0s with this kind of deck. It can't, like, you're running 4 Force, super powerful. You're running aggressive aggressive, evasive creatures, a lot of interaction, land hate, big finishers. People are going to start putting up results, and more people are going to start playing it. And in the end, we'll see how it stacks up against like blue-white and blue-green. So that's why I wanted the Wii Dragonauts. Yeah, the Wizard synergy is pretty sweet. I wasn't totally convinced by that one. It didn't seem like the payoff was good enough for us. It really cares about instants and sorceries, right? So we just don't have a lot of those. I guess we do have a lot of wizards. But again, the payoff didn't seem that good. The combination, so this card was I didn't even think twice about it when it was spoiled. It's just utter trash. One side is a 5-drop, garbage. One side is a tap land, garbage. But somebody came up with this super clever idea of this particular instant speed blink spell that just can turn this thing into a 4/3. Just beautiful. Jashant, the idea of the taplands and Vial, it's sort of baffling to me why people are even considering running 8 taplands. Because in the past, we've just been really, really rigorously opposed to playing taplands whenever we can possibly avoid it. M. Hayashi pioneered running 4 fairy conclaves. And I don't think he's even on that anymore, but he revisits it periodically. But that's only in a very controlling deck where we're trying to go very late in the game, lock people out of the game with Chalice of the Void, and then get value out of our lands by attacking. In this case, we're trying to get value out of our lands by attacking, but actually turning them into significant, meaningful threats that we don't have to invest mana into each turn, like a man land. Just becomes another Merfolk that we can crack in with. So Master of Waves is what it used to be. It is kind of a funny situation. I don't think it's nearly as bad as most people have sort of made it out to be in the Merfolk community at this point. The only thing that makes it really bad, unless I'm forgetting something, is Plague Engineer. And I was on a spiel before about how Plague Engineer is about as rare, I feel as seeing Ensnaring Bridge, which is to say it exists, but how often are you going to see it? 1 out of every 15 matches, 1 out of every 20 matches. I know I don't see Bridge more often than that. So I also don't see Plague Engineer more than that. It exists. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist. I guess so. Master of Waves also dies to Fatal Push, and so that's something that makes him worse than what he used to be. But now in this deck, you've got more ways to protect Master of Waves, and more ways to copy Master of Waves. So I feel in a sense, it's kind of reinvigorating Master of Waves in the format, because if they do have a Fatal Push, they go for Master of Waves and we flicker him, and now all of a sudden we've got more tokens. Opponents in a worse spot than they were when they tried to kill him. Plague Engineer will always be bad against tribal decks. I mean, not bad. It'll be bad for us. It'll be very good for the opponent. Yeah, it's good in a prowess meta. It's good in Ponza meta, certainly. Very good in a Ponza meta. And good against Jund. It's good in a lot of matchups. It's very, very strong. And in a deck where we're looking to tick Ether Vial consistently up to 3-ish, to get glass pools on the battlefield, past 2 basically. It's just, one more tick to get to Master of Waves. So Fruit Kid, I would say, don't sleep on Master of Waves. Don't fret too much about, how he can die sometimes. Think about Bloodbraid Elf always gets value off of its Cascade, some value, and not always, because sometimes they hit a removal spell, and we don't have a creature on board or whatever. But it's pretty corner case. There are 4-drops in the format that can be situationally bad, right? It happens sometimes. But they often win games, and that's kind of what Master of Waves does. Yeah, Jashant. It's cool that it's appealing to you as an outsider. I'm trying as a longtime Merfolk player to get more people psyched on it, because I think it's pretty awesome. So I'm gonna call it a night, guys. Let me check who else is online right now, and I'll send you somewhere. Let me check. All right, so we've got Squaw Chief. I'm going to send you guys to Squaw Chief. Oh yeah, my pleasure. Really, really fun deck. And really looking for, actually, I've been playing so much Soul Herder lately. This is the kind of change in Merfolk, the kind of evolution that will pull me away from Soul Herder more and more to actually jam matches with Merfolk. So let me just change the spelling on this. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy Squaw Chief's stream. If you go over there, say hello for me. And I'll catch you next, probably on Monday, for more Soul Herder. Possibly might stream over the weekend, who knows? But the next scheduled stream is next Monday.